I'm sure you guys could already tell by the title what this video is going to be about. As some of you guys know, I got a new pet, and this is little Dakota. He's a little baby. This is a bearded dragon. He is a reptile. He is a lizard. He hears the bugs right now. I have bugs right here because I wanted to show you guys what I feed him and stuff. And he is shedding on his tail right now, so that's why it looks kind of yuck. But yeah, this is Dakota, and isn't he so cute? The cutest little thing ever. I actually don't know the gender of him. I'm assuming that he's a boy, but he could be a girl, so I don't know. I do believe that once they're much older, you can determine their sex. Yeah, I feel like he's gonna like try to jump off of my hand right now. He hears bugs. The reason I decided to get a bearded dragon as a pet and why I chose a reptile was because, are you gonna cooperate for this video? I just personally felt like I needed Dakota. I'm gonna have to put you back so I can record because you're looking for the bugs. I felt like I needed like a comfort pet, so that's really why I decided to just get one. And I felt like a dog is too a dog needs a lot of attention, like especially puppies. Like I know you got to be there to train them. You have to. Are you serious? Are you gonna let me record? You're just curious, aren't you? Yeah, I think he's hungry. But, yeah, I wanted to, I guess maybe I should feed him. What's the matter? Why are you doing this? Usually you're just chilling. I wanted a pet that I could, like, interact with, but I could also, like, just stick it back in the enclosure once I need to go to work or once I need to take care of whatever I need to take care of. And, yeah, that's really why I chose a bearded dragon. And like I said, I feel like a dog was too, you have to be there to potty train a dog. You have to make sure it's not like tearing up your house. Dogs need to get out of their cage and like run around and stuff. But I felt like a lizard is just something that I could like, you know, I can interact with it, hold it and pet it and stuff like that and still be able to put it back inside of its enclosure for hours at a time because I do work full time. So that's another reason why I felt like this would just be perfect. Where are you going? You're looking for that food, aren't you? You must be hungry. So this is my little setup, and there's little Dakota right there chilling. But I just have like this tree and then a little hide right there. So if he wants to just go under there for whatever reason, he can. Where he's at right now is actually his very favorite spot. Like he stays on that branch or whatever you want to call this. He stays on this. He loves it so much. And then there's like this rock, and it's also you know, he can either bask on it or he can go on the inside of it, and it's like another little hide. And I did put like a soft blanket underneath, so if he wants to just lay on something soft, he can. And this is a 40-gallon tank. As you guys can see, like he doesn't even go on this side of the tank, but he has plenty of room to grow into the tank. And yeah, the top is a mesh top so he can get his air, and it has locks on it. And it also has like this little like thing right here. I guess you can like feed through it or whatever, but it opens and closes. And yeah, this is his tank, and I am gonna add more to it when I save some money up. I want to put like a little hammock over there in the corner, and then I want to like, you know, just add some more little decorations and stuff. And right now I am using Reptile carpet as my substrate. So let's talk about cost. If you are considering buying a bearded dragon, please expect to spend at least $300 or have a budget of $300 or more. Up front, I paid $350, and I'm talking about like that's off rip. By the time I walked out of that store, I had spent up like 300 and I want to say it was 354. So I spent $354 starting out, and that does not even include some of the other things that I had to go back and buy that I just felt like I had needed. So expect to spend anywhere between $300 and $500. In that $350, it did include the bearded dragon, of course. I ended up getting a discount on Dakota because if you bought they had like some kind of a deal. I got him at PetSmart, by the way, but PetSmart had some kind of a deal to where if you bought the Enclosure and bought like the whole kit, you could get the bearded dragon for $10. So I got Dakota for $10, but I spent like $290 something on his tank alone. And then I went and bought the decorations, of course. So like the logs or tree branch or just whatever you want to call it. I bought that, and those are not really cheap either. I want to say I spent like 30 something dollars on just that tree that I showed in the tank tour clip. But yeah, I spent like 30 something dollars on that tree, and then on that for that branch, his favorite spot that he likes to bask on, that little piece of branch or log or whatever you want to call it, that was probably, I want to say it was like $15, and then the rock cost me about 20 something dollars, like $25 plus tax or something. So it was really expensive in my opinion just for a little lizard, but I wanted to make sure that he would be happy and healthy when I brought him home, so I went and did the whole 9 yards. I started him out in a really big tank, so I think it's a 40-gallon tank. And that came with the lights that he needed. It came with the bulbs that he needed. It came with 2 food bowls. So like the food bowl and then the water bowl. And it also came with the carpet. So I feel like it's cheaper to just buy the whole entire kit instead of trying to buy a tank and then buying all the little stuff that has to go inside of it, when you can just buy a whole entire kit. So that's what I did, and he has plenty of room to grow into it. The very first day that I brought Dakota home and I set his cage up and put him inside of it, he did really good, but I noticed that each time I would try to feed him, he refused to eat. Like, usually you see a bunch of videos of them going to eat crickets and chasing the crickets. Like, he was not interested in crickets whatsoever. So after about a week and I noticed that he wasn't eating any of the crickets, I went back to PetSmart and they told me to get mealworms, and he ended up eating like 1 or 2 mealworms, which still is not really enough. When I noticed that he was not eating as much as he should be, I took him back to PetSmart because there's like a 14-day policy, a 14-day return policy. So it was within the 14 days, and I noticed after a week of him not really eating that much, like he was eating but not a lot. So I brought him right back, and they ended up keeping him for like 2 weeks, guys. 2.5 weeks they had to keep him for. And basically it was to just kind of watch him and see if he progresses and eats more, because if a bearded dragon does not eat, that means that they could either have parasites or they could have worms. And I was freaking out because I was just like, really? I just bought this dragon not even a week ago and he doesn't want to eat. Maybe he's stressed out. I just didn't know what to do, even though I thought I had prepared myself by just doing so much research before I bought this reptile. So I did all the research, so I was just like, yeah, it's not right that he's not eating. So I brought him back, and they watched him for a couple weeks, and he did end up progressing and eating more and more and more each day that they had him. They did tell me that they ended up not taking him to the vet because of the fact that he did start to make progress when they fed him. on Instagram, I had made like a bunch of posts about bearded dragons, and I basically showed my followers that, hey, this is what I'm about to get. This is my bearded dragon Dakota, and I introduced him to Instagram actually before I came on here with a video. So some of my followers from Instagram might already know that I had purchased a bearded dragon, and then I just kind of stopped posting him for like a couple weeks, like I said, and that's because I actually did not have him. He was at PetSmart getting taken care of, and of course I freaked out like every single day that he was away, because I was just like, I do not want to have to go buy another pet when I just got this one. But now he is okay. I give him a bath 5 times a week. So pretty much every day during the week he gets a bath like a few hours before his bedtime, just so he can be hydrated and stuff like that. And then on the weekends I just leave him be. That way I'm not like overdoing it. Also, now he eats the crickets that I give him. After doing some research about mealworms, I found out that mealworms are actually very harmful for babies, and I saw that it was really for any size bearded dragon, like even the adults, but especially for babies, because mealworms have like a hard shell or something, which is harder for them to digest, and it can cause them to die. I don't know how accurate that is, but just from the research that I've done, I just wanted to be safe, and I totally trashed the mealworms that I had bought for him that PetSmart told me to buy. By the way, don't listen to PetSmart if you have a reptile. Go to like an exotic pets place. That's where they like specialize in reptiles and stuff like that. So I found that mealworms were just terrible, so I went to my local like reptile store and bought him something called hornworms, which are a lot better. They're more soft. They almost remind me of like gummy worms, except in real life. And here, I'll actually show y'all them. I don't know if y'all can see this. There's only 2 in here. There's one right here, and then there's one like chilling over here. But these are literally like gummy worms. Like, they feel like gummy worms. And Dakota freaking loves them. As soon as I drop them in his because I don't feed him in his tank, I feed him in a plastic bin. You can kind of see it right here, but I feed him in a big plastic bin. So I just drop the hornworms in there and he goes right for them. Also, he likes dubia roaches. So bearded dragons really need vegetables as a part of their diet. When they're babies, they eat mostly insects, and then once they're older, that like changes and they eat more vegetables and less insects. But as a baby, you still want to try to introduce them to vegetables, and Dakota will not eat vegetables for nothing. So I had to go out and buy baby food, which I did some research and I saw that it was okay. So I tried him with like green bean baby food, and he really, really loves it. Like, I give it to him in like a syringe, and I just like put it right here and I like squeeze it up and he licks it right up. So I would suggest getting one of these if you're getting a little baby bearded dragon. I also use these tweezers for when I'm feeding him when I feed him bugs and stuff, so I don't have to like touch them. Crickets, on the other hand, that's a different story. Sometimes I have no choice but to catch him so my baby can eat. But when it comes to like worms and stuff like that, or the little dubia roaches that they eat, I do use like tweezers, and you can use like tongs or just whatever, something to pick them up with other than having to use your hands.